Genesis chapter 31. Jacob overheard what Laban's sons were saying. Jacob has taken everything that belonged to our father, and everything he owns now has come from our father's wealth. And Jacob noticed that Laban's attitude toward him was no longer what it had been. Then the Lord said to Jacob, "Return to the land of your ancestors and to your birthplace, and I will be with you." So Jacob sent word to Rachel and Leah to meet him out in the field where his flocks were. He told them, "I can see your father's expression has changed. He no longer looks at me the same way. But the God of my father has been with me. You both know how hard I have worked for your father. Yet he has cheated me time and again, changing my wages 10 times. But God did not allow him to harm me. Whenever he said, 'The spotted animals will be your wages,' then all the flocks gave birth to spotted offspring. And when he changed it and said, 'The striped ones will be your wages,' then all the flocks bore striped young. In this way, God has taken away your father's livestock and given them to me. Once, during mating season, I had a dream in which I saw that the male goats mating with the flocks were streaked, speckled, and spotted. Then the angel of God said to me in the dream, 'Jacob,' and I replied, 'Here I am.' He said, 'Look around. All the male goats mating with the flocks are streaked, speckled, and spotted. I've seen all that Laban has done to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed a pillar and made a vow to me. Now leave this land at once and return to your native land.' Then Rachel and Leah responded, 'Do we still have any share in our father's inheritance? Doesn't he treat us like strangers? He sold us, and he's been using up everything that was paid for us. So, whatever God has taken from our father belongs to us and our children. Do whatever God has told you.' Jacob packed up and put his children and wives on camels. He gathered all his livestock and possessions he had acquired in Pad and Aram and set out to return to his father Isaac in the land of Canaan. Meanwhile, Laban had gone to shear his sheep. While he was away, Rachel stole her father's household gods. Jacob deceived Laban the Aramean by not telling him he was running away. So Jacob fled with everything he had. He crossed the Euphrates River and headed for the hill country of Gilead. 3 days later, Laban was told that Jacob had fled. Taking his relatives with him, he pursued Jacob for 7 days and caught up with him in the hill country of Gilead. But that night, God came to Laban in a dream and warned him, "Be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad." Laban finally caught up to Jacob. Jacob had pitched his tent in the hill country, and Laban and his relatives set up camp nearby. Laban confronted Jacob, "What have you done? You've deceived me and carried off my daughters like captives taken by sword. Why did you run off secretly and deceive me? Why didn't you tell me? I would have sent you off with joy, singing, and music, with tambourine and harp. You didn't even let me kiss my daughters and grandchildren goodbye. You've acted foolishly. I have the power to harm you, but last night the God of your father warned me, 'Be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad.' But now that you've gone because you long to return to your father's house, why did you steal my gods?" Jacob answered, "I was afraid you would take your daughters from me by force. But if you find anyone with your gods, that person shall not live. Search for whatever belongs to you and take it." Jacob did not know Rachel had taken the idols. So Laban went into Jacob's tent, then Leah's tent, and then the tent of the 2 maidservants, but found nothing. Finally, he entered Rachel's tent. She had hidden the household gods in her camel's saddle and was sitting on them. Laban searched everything in the tent, but did not find them. Rachel said to her father, "Please don't be angry, my lord, that I cannot stand in your presence. I'm having my period." So he searched and found nothing. Then Jacob became angry and rebuked Laban. "What is my crime? What sin have I committed that you hunt me down like this? You've searched through all my belongings. Have you found anything of yours? Put it here in front of your relatives and mine. Let them judge between us. I've been with you 20 years. Your sheep and goats have never miscarried, and I haven't eaten the rams from your flocks. I didn't bring you animals torn by wild beasts. I bore the loss myself. And you demanded compensation for anything stolen by day or night. In the day, the heat consumed me, and at night the cold. Sleep fled from my eyes. For 20 years I have worked in your house, 14 years for your 2 daughters, and 6 years for your flocks. You changed my wages 10 times. If the God of my father, the God of Abraham and the fear of Isaac, had not been with me, you would have sent me away empty-handed. But God has seen my hardship and the toil of my hands, and last night he rebuked you. Then Laban replied, These women are my daughters, these children are my grandchildren, and these flocks are mine. Everything you see is mine. But what can I do today about these daughters of mine, or the children they have borne? Come now, let's make a covenant, you and I, and let it serve as a witness between us. So Jacob took a stone and set it up as a pillar. He told his relatives, Gather some stones. So they took stones and piled them in a heap, and they ate there beside the heap. Laban called it Jegar-Sahadutha, and Jacob called it Galeed. Laban said, This heap is a witness between you and me today. That's why it was called Galeed. It was also called Mizpah, because Laban said, May the Lord keep watch between you and me when we are away from each other. If you mistreat my daughters or take other wives besides them, even though no one is with us, remember that God is a witness between you and me. Laban also said to Jacob, Here is this heap, and here is this pillar I have set up between you and me. This heap is a witness, and this pillar is a witness, that I will not pass beyond this heap to harm you, and you will not pass beyond it to harm me. May the God of Abraham and the God of Nahor, the God of their father, judge between us. So Jacob swore by the fear of his father Isaac. He offered his sacrifice there in the hill country and invited his relatives to a meal. After they had eaten, they spent the night there. Early the next morning, Laban kissed his grandchildren and his daughters and blessed them. Then he left and returned home. Genesis chapter 32. As Jacob continued on his way, he was met by angels of God. When he saw them, he said, This is the camp of God. So he named that place Mahanaim. Jacob then sent messengers ahead to his brother Esau in the land of Seir, also called Edom. He instructed them to say, Your servant Jacob says, I have been staying with Laban until now. I have cattle, donkeys, flocks, male and female servants. I am sending this message to my lord, so I may find favor in your eyes. When the messengers returned to Jacob, they said, We went to your brother Esau, and now he is coming to meet you with 400 men. Jacob was terrified and distressed. He divided the people who were with him, along with the flocks, herds, and camels, into 2 groups. He thought, if Esau attacks one group, the other may escape. Then Jacob prayed, O God of my father Abraham, and God of my father Isaac, you who said to me, Return to your land and to your relatives, and I will make you prosper. I am unworthy of all the kindness and faithfulness you have shown to your servant. When I crossed the Jordan, I had only my staff, but now I have become 2 camps. Please deliver me from the hand of my brother Esau. I am afraid he will come and attack me, and also the mothers with their children. But you have said, I will surely make you prosper and make your descendants as numerous as the sand of the sea, which cannot be counted. That night Jacob stayed there, and from what he had with him, he prepared a gift for his brother Esau. He selected 200 female goats and 20 male goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30 female camels with their young, 40 cows and 10 bulls, and 20 female donkeys with 10 foals. He put them in the care of his servants, each herd by itself, and said to them, Go ahead of me, and keep some space between the herds. He instructed the first one, When my brother Esau meets you and asks, Who do you belong to, and where are you going, and whose animals are these in front of you? Then say, They belong to your servant Jacob. They are a gift sent to my lord Esau, and he is coming behind us. He gave the same instructions to the second and third groups, and to all the others who followed the herds. Say the same thing to Esau when you meet him, and be sure to say, 'Your servant Jacob is coming behind us.' For he thought, 'I will try to appease him with this gift I am sending ahead. Later, when I see him, perhaps he will receive me kindly.' So Jacob's gift went on ahead of him, but he himself stayed the night in the camp. That night, Jacob got up and took his 2 wives, his 2 maidservants, and his 11 sons, and crossed the ford of the Jabbok River. After he had sent them across the stream, he also sent over all his possessions. So Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until daybreak. When the man saw that he could not overpower Jacob, he touched the socket of Jacob's hip so that it was wrenched as they wrestled. Then the man said, 'Let me go, for it is daybreak.' But Jacob replied, 'I will not let you go unless you bless me.' The man asked him, 'What is your name?' 'Jacob,' he answered. Then the man said, 'Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with humans and have overcome.' Jacob said, 'Please tell me your name.' But he replied, 'Why do you ask my name?' Then he blessed Jacob there. So Jacob named the place Peniel, saying, 'It is because I saw God face to face, and yet my life was spared.' The sun rose as he passed Peniel, and he was limping because of his hip. That is why to this day the Israelites do not eat the tendon attached to the socket of the hip, because the socket of Jacob's hip was touched near the tendon during that wrestling match. Genesis chapter 33. As Jacob looked up, he saw Esau approaching with 400 men. Immediately he divided the children among Leah, Rachel, and the 2 maidservants. He placed the maidservants and their children in front, Leah and her children next, and Rachel with Joseph at the very back. Then Jacob went ahead of them all. As he approached his brother, he bowed to the ground 7 times in deep respect. But Esau ran to meet him, embraced him warmly, threw his arms around his neck, and kissed him. Both of them wept. When Esau looked up and saw the women and children, he asked, "Who are all these with you?" Jacob replied, "These are the children God has graciously given your servant." Then the maidservants came forward with their children and bowed down. Next came Leah and her children, who also bowed. Finally, Joseph and Rachel stepped forward and bowed. Esau asked, "What was the meaning of all those herds I met along the way?" Jacob answered, "They were a gift for you, my lord, so that I might find favor in your eyes." But Esau said, "I already have plenty, my brother. Keep what is yours." Jacob insisted, "No, please. If I have found favor in your eyes, accept this gift from me. Seeing your face is like seeing the face of God, now that you have received me so kindly. Please take this gift I brought you, because God has been gracious to me and I have more than enough." And because Jacob insisted, Esau accepted the gift. Then Esau said, "Let us be on our way. I'll travel with you." But Jacob replied, "My lord, you know that the children are tender, and I have nursing flocks and herds. If they are driven too hard even for one day, the whole flock could die. So go on ahead, my lord. I will travel slowly at the pace of the livestock and the children, until I come to my lord in Seir." Esau said, "Then let me leave some of my men with you." But Jacob said, "There's no need. Let me just find favor in your eyes, my lord." So Esau turned around and went back to Seir that same day. Jacob, however, journeyed to a place called Succoth. There he built a house for himself and shelters for his livestock. That's why the place was named Succoth, which means shelters. Later, Jacob arrived safely at the city of Shechem in the land of Canaan, having come from Paddan Aram. He camped just outside the city. He bought the piece of land where he pitched his tent from the sons of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of silver. There, Jacob set up an altar and named it El Elohe Israel, meaning God, the God of Israel. Genesis chapter 34. One day, Dinah, the daughter of Leah and Jacob, went out to visit the young women of the land. But she was seen by Shechem, the son of Hamor the Hivite, a local prince. He seized her, lay with her, and violated her. Afterwards, Shechem's heart was drawn to Dinah. He spoke tenderly to her and fell in love with her. So he asked his father Hamor, "Please get this girl for me as my wife." Meanwhile, Jacob had already heard about what Shechem had done to Dinah. But since his sons were still in the fields with the livestock, he waited silently until they returned. Soon after, Hamor, Shechem's father, came to speak with Jacob. When Jacob's sons heard the news, they came back from the fields. They were outraged and furious because Shechem had committed a disgraceful act in Israel by violating their sister. Such a thing should never be done. Hamor spoke with them and said, "My son Shechem's heart is set on your daughter. Please give her to him as a wife. Let's build relationships, intermarry with us. You give us your daughters, and you can take ours. Live among us. The land is open to you. Settle here, move freely, and acquire property." Then Shechem himself pleaded, "If I've found favor in your eyes, let me know what bride price and gift you require. I'll give whatever you ask. Just give me the girl to be my wife." But Jacob's sons answered Shechem and Hamor with deceit, because of what Shechem had done to Dinah, their sister. They said, "We can't give our sister to someone who's uncircumcised. That would bring disgrace to us. But if you agree to become like us, if every male among you is circumcised, then we'll give you our daughters and take yours. We'll live with you and become one people. But if you won't agree, we'll take our sister and leave." This proposal pleased Hamor and Shechem. Shechem didn't delay in acting because he was deeply in love with Dinah, and among his father's household, he was highly respected. Hamor and Shechem went to the city gate and addressed the men of their town. "These men want to live at peace among us," they said. "Let them stay and trade in the land. It's spacious enough for all of us. We'll intermarry with them. But they'll only agree to live with us if all our males are circumcised as they are. Their livestock, possessions, and wealth will become ours. Let's agree to this." So they settle among us. Everyone at the city gate agreed, and every male in the city was circumcised. But 3 days later, when the men were in great pain, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's full brothers, took their swords, entered the unsuspecting city, and killed every male. They also killed Hamor and Shechem and rescued Dinah from Shechem's house. Then the other sons of Jacob came and looted the city because their sister had been defiled. They took flocks, herds, donkeys, and everything in the city and the fields. They carried off all the wealth, women, and children, even everything in the houses. Jacob was deeply troubled. He said to Simeon and Levi, "You have brought trouble on me by making me obnoxious to the people of this land, the Canaanites and Perizzites. We are few in number. If they unite and attack me, I and my entire household will be wiped out." But Simeon and Levi replied, "Should he have treated our sister like a prostitute?" Genesis chapter 35, Jacob's journey, Rachel's death, and Isaac's burial. Then God said to Jacob, "Get up, go to Bethel, and settle there. Build an altar there to the God who appeared to you when you were fleeing from your brother Esau." So Jacob told everyone in his household and all who were with him, "Get rid of the foreign gods you have among you. Purify yourselves and change your clothes. We're going to Bethel, where I will build an altar to the God who helped me in my time of trouble and who has been with me on all my journeys." So they handed over to Jacob all the foreign gods they had and the earrings from their ears, and Jacob buried them under the oak tree near Shechem. Then they set out. As they traveled, a great fear from God fell on all the surrounding towns, so no one pursued them. Jacob and his family arrived safely at the town of Luz in Canaan, which is also called Bethel. There, Jacob built an altar and named the place El Bethel, which means God of Bethel, because it was there that God had revealed himself to Jacob when he was running from his brother. Not long after, Deborah, the nurse of Rebekah, died and was buried under the oak tree near Bethel. Jacob named that tree Alon-Bakuth, meaning oak of weeping. Once again, God appeared to Jacob after he returned from Paddan Aram, and he blessed him. God said, "Your name is Jacob, but you will no longer be called Jacob. Your name will be Israel." And so he named him Israel. Then God said, "I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations will come from you. Kings will descend from your line. And the land I gave to Abraham and Isaac, I now give to you and to your descendants after you." After speaking with him, God went up from the place where he had talked with Jacob. Jacob then set up a stone pillar at that place to mark where God had spoken with him. He poured a drink offering on it and anointed it with oil. He named that place Bethel. Later, as they journeyed from Bethel and were still some distance from Ephrath, Rachel began to give birth, and her labor was intense. During her struggle, the midwife reassured her, "Don't be afraid. You have another son." But as she breathed her last, dying in childbirth, she named her son Benoni, meaning son of my sorrow. But Jacob called him Benjamin, which means son of the right hand. So Rachel died and was buried on the way to Ephrath, which is Bethlehem. Jacob set up a pillar over her grave, and it stands there to this day. After this, Israel moved on and pitched his tent beyond the Tower of Eder. While they were living in that region, Reuben, Jacob's oldest son, committed a grave sin by sleeping with Bilhah, his father's concubine, and Jacob found out about it. Now Jacob had 12 sons. The sons of Leah: Reuben, Jacob's firstborn; Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel: Joseph and Benjamin. The sons of Bilhah: Rachel's maid Dan and Naphtali. The sons of Zilpah: Leah's maid Gad and Asher. These were the sons born to Jacob in Paddan Aram. Eventually, Jacob came to his father Isaac in Mamre, near Kiriath-arba, that is, Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac had both lived as foreigners. Isaac lived to be 180 years old. Then he took his last breath and died, an old man full of years. He was gathered to his people, and his sons Esau and Jacob buried him together. In the next video, we'll explore the complete genealogy of Esau and the story of his descendants in Genesis chapter 36. See you tomorrow. Have a happy life listening to Holy Bible.